Marcus Stroman has publicly called out Brian Cashman, called Yankee fans fickle, and has beef with various writers and people on social media, not shying away from voicing his opinion online. Despite all the vitriol he's dished out and received from Yankee fans, reports are now surfacing that the right-hander wants to play in the Bronx, and to everyone's surprise, the Yankees seem to have an interest as well. While the two sides have never gotten along, the Yankees' need for pitching and Marcus Stroman's potential lack of a market could bring the two sides together in what could be one of the most unlikely pairings in all of free agency. Before we get into today's video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. You don't want to miss out on the Yankees content we got coming out over the next few weeks. And we're posting daily content. We've got podcasts, we've got streams, we've got shorts, we've got everything for you guys. So with that being said, let's get into the video. It's hard to argue that the Yankees, who could desperately need starting pitching wherever they can get it, couldn't use a guy like Marcus Stroman, but in the same vein, can we really expect these two sides to put aside their very public differences? Back in 2019, the Toronto Blue Jays were looking to trade Marcus Stroman ahead of the trade deadline as they were out of contention and knew they could net a huge return for the right-hander. And the Yankees were considered a team that was heavily involved in that trade race. Stroman had 2.96 ERA across 21 starts heading into the trade deadline, and he had an amazing 56.3% ground ball rate. Marcus Stroman mentioned in a road series in the summer of 2019 that New York's like the Mecca of the world, right? I love the excitement. I love bright lights. I love competition. I love pressure. I've always loved pitching here, even though I haven't necessarily pitched well here. I've always enjoyed it. It seems like the stars would align. The New York Yankees would get the New York kid to bolster their rotation right off to the sunset and win their 28th World Series title in 2019 with Masahiro Tanaka, Luis Severino, James Paxton, and Marcus Stroman dominating in October against the Houston. Oh shit, the New York Mets just acquired Marcus Stroman. Brian Cashman confirmed the Yankees' interest in Marcus Stroman, but he also made comments that caused the beef between the organization and player that has persisted over the last few years. The longtime Yankee GM stated that we were interested in Stroman, but we didn't think he would be a difference maker. He also added that we felt he would be in our bullpen in the postseason, which in retrospect wasn't exactly wrong. The Yankees pitching staff held the Astros to a 179 average and a 23.5% strikeout rate in the ALCS, and Marcus Stroman had a good but not dominant 3.77 ERA with the Mets. But of course Marcus Stroman was going to take that comment well. I mean, it's downplaying his impact, and it's a public comment from the GM of the New York Yankees. He would go on Twitter and post an image about how the Yankees starters performed versus how he performed in 2019, and it was clear that this was a beef that had emerged. Playing for the crosstown rival Mets, he'd also tweet that the Yankees rotation without Cole wouldn't be good enough, and even suggested the 2021 offseason that he wouldn't ever play for the Yankees again. Marcus Stroman would clarify that Brian Cashman apologized and the two had beef, but him then calling Yankee fans fickle certainly didn't help. He made plenty of comments that vocally showed the displeasure in the idea of playing for the Yankees, and yet, now reports have come out that he really wants to play for the Bronx Bombers. The question now is whether the Yankees should or shouldn't sign the controversial right-hander. He spent the last two seasons with the Chicago Cubs after signing a 3-year deal with the team right before the lockout to put the 2022 season in jeopardy. The right-hander posted a 3.73 ERA across 275 and a third innings pitched between his two seasons with the Cubs, showing off an impressive ability to keep the ball on the ground with his deep array of offerings and movement profiles in his pitch mix. He throws 6 different pitches, headlined by his bowling ball sinker that relies heavily on seam-shifted wake, and the movement of his sinker differs greatly from the movement expected based on his spin axis. The differentiation in spin-based and actual movement makes it hard for hitters to pick up his pitch, and this pitch has over 2 seasons of a 304 WOBA and a plus 15 run value, as it generates about 10 inches of horizontal run with 29.4 inches of vertical drop. His go-to secondary is his slurve, which generates over 13 inches of sweep at 84.6 miles an hour, and that sharp horizontal movement allows it to have just a 254 WOBA against, and it's an excellent breaking ball. Although those 2 pitches make up about 2/3 of his pitch usage, his other 4 pitchers generate an array of different movement profiles and looks for him. His cutter is a pitch that the Yankees could potentially get more out of with a strong 105 stuff plus and 327 xWOBA kind allowed, allowing the pitch to generate soft contact and work in any matchup to put hitters away. His splitter generates a lot of vertical drop, but has struggled with a negative 8.7 run value despite its solid stats on the surface. The slider he throws has plenty of depth and is thrown at pretty good velocity, and it's a pretty hard gyro slider, has some solid damage prevention, and some pretty good chase rate numbers as well. Something that Marcus Stroman will need to work on next season is generating more chases, and I believe the slider and cutter can both be huge pitches for him on that front. The other unique aspect of his profile is his four-seam fastball, as while he has just 14.5 inches of vertical ride on the pitch, it has a lower slot release because of his smaller height, and that could allow him to play that fastball up in the zone, and historically speaking, it's shown stretches of getting really elite results, including this past season. Projections believe that Marcus Stroman will have a solid season in 2024, as Steamer believes he'll put up a 4.11 ERA across 32 starts for a 2.6 FWAR, which would make him one of the better starters in the league this upcoming season. Adding a starter of his caliber would give them a strong middle-of-the-rotation arm to add, which is something that they've desperately lacked, especially considering that Nestor Cortez and Carlos Rodon come with plenty of variance. Stroman hasn't had an ERA above 4 since 2018, when he dealt with injuries and posted a career-worst 5.54 ERA, and that consistency has driven up a lot of his MLB value, and in terms of how he stacks up against other starters on the market, he's right in line with a pitcher like Shane Bieber. I imagine that there are enough people who are convinced that the raw numbers are great, but there is more to Stroman that creates unease around signing him than just the numbers. Back in 2022, Marcus Stroman endorsed messages online with anti-Semitic rhetoric, and it's hard to overlook how damaging that can be to a clubhouse and a fan base. Yes, you should want to get players that make your team better, but it's not as if a background check is something we don't see not just in baseball, but in any industry. If you apply for a job right now, there is some sort of background check that an employer does on you. People responsible for hiring always take into account variables such as character, even if it may not directly apply to one's ability to produce. Character concerns, even if not directly applicable to baseball, can affect how an athlete handles adversity, and Stroman would be pitching in front of a fan base that already has a predisposed notion that they should dislike this guy. Again, he did insult them, so it's not like it's unrational for Yankee fans to dislike Marcus Stroman. Bringing in Alex Verdugo, for example, brought a similar energy to the Bronx, as they brought in somebody with character concerns that will have to earn their pinstripes, but more importantly, earn the respect of the fan base. And we've also seen the ugly side of these kinds of acquisitions. Josh Johnson had called out Garrett Cole in 2021, and when the Yankees acquired him before the 2022 season, he was a name that would have to earn the love of the fans, and he completely flopped. By putting up a 94 WRC plus and a 293 OBP in his 166 games with the Yankees, Josh Johnson was downright awful with the bat and is one of the most hated Yankees in recent memory. Marcus Stroman not pounding out in the Bronx could potentially bring a lot of ire to him and the front office, but if the Yankees think they can improve his pitch mix, and more importantly, if they think they can keep his character from affecting his on-field play, then it's an addition that they'll certainly explore making. His sinker, slurve, cutter combination is excellent and could improve with the Bronx Bombers, as Matt Blake and Sam Breen's ability to get more out of the pitcher is the one thing in this organization you just can't doubt. There are legitimate concerns that fans should have, and this isn't a done deal, but if the Yankees and Marcus Stroman end up forming a controversial union in free agency, it'll be one of the biggest storylines for the 2024 Yankees. Brian Cashman and company seem to be willing to take some risks in order to make the team better, and Stroman is 100% a big-time risk. We'll see if the Yankees and Marcus Stroman come to an agreement on a deal, but it could be a risk that the front office desperately needs to have pay off for them, because it'll be one of the worst looks in the sport if he doesn't. So, the New York Yankees ended up signing Marcus Stroman. It's a 2-year deal, $37 million, and I actually think it's surplus value on the market, and I'm really excited to see how the Yankees and Marcus Stroman end up pairing, but we'll also have to see how he reacts to the fan base, but more importantly, how the fan base reacts to him. I'm not too concerned about Marcus Stroman being scared of Yankee fans. I'm just concerned about Yankee fans not being accepting if Marcus Stroman gets off to a slow start, or whatever it may be. He has a target on his back. I think he's aware of it. But ultimately, we'll have to wait and see if the two end up being a good pairing. This has the opportunity to be a really good contract for the Yankees, and it also has the opportunity to be a Josh Donaldson 2.0 situation. But again, we'll have to wait and see, and that's the exciting and nerve-wracking part of things. Now, Fangraphs projects the Yankees to be the top 10 in FWAR and ERA for their rotation, which is a huge win for them. And they also have some financial flexibility. In 2 years, Marcus Stroman no longer has committed money. Now, he does have a vesting option for 2026, but I assume that if he hits his qualifier for it, barring a really bad year, the New York Yankees are going to have him opt out. Like, he's just going to not pick up that option. They'll have a chance to revisit whether they want to keep him or not. But end of the day, I like the contract. Not sure I love the off-field stuff, but I think that he and the Yankees have smoothed that over, and I personally think that Marcus Stroman is going to be motivated to try to prove himself and endear himself to this fan base. So with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. We were going to do a different outro, but this is what I'm going to stick with. If you guys enjoyed today's video, make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, turn on the notification bell, and of course, check out our other social media platforms on Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, Facebook, and of course, this YouTube page. You guys can check out Empire Sports Media for all of our written New York sports content. And with that being said, I'm Ryan from Fireside Yankees. You can follow me at Ryan Garcia ESM, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.